Chrysanthemums are undoubtedly gorgeous, wonderful plants, especially because of their flowers. And did you know that they can live for many years if you know how to take care of them? So you have two choices: either buy one and enjoy it for the season, or keep on watching this video so you know how to take care of it and make it survive for a long time. But before we start with the care of these beauties, I want to congratulate you. And now you will ask me why? Well, because these are not just plants, they are actually special symbols for many cultures. For example, in Asia, it means long and happy life. So if you have chrysanthemums around your space, that's a really great sign and magnet of positivity. And for Greeks, well, they believed that these plants hold special powers that can guard you from evil spirits that run around our houses or something. So, well, yes, that was a great parenthesis full of magic and nice meanings. So let's go ahead and start with the lighting, as I always do. For lighting, these plants are mostly considered outdoor plants because they need a lot of sunlight. I would say at least 6 hours of full sunlight. Now we are talking about the sun touching the plants. Don't confuse it with bright indirect sunlight. That is filtered. We are talking directly. So if you want to have them indoors, you should place them near a window that will actually get a lot of light. Otherwise, well, they will not get that many blooms and might actually die. So just give them light. If you do not have a window with sunlight and you insist on having them indoors for the personalized meaning of them, well, grow lights. No other way to go. LED lights will not be sufficient, so you need to invest in grow lights or have the free natural source of sun. Next on the list we have the temperatures. These plants prefer moderate to cool temperatures. What I mean by this is 15 to 21 Celsius or 60 to 70 Fahrenheit and you are good to go. You should always avoid placing your chrysanthemum in a really hot area where it will get burned or somewhere where it has a lot of cold air flowing. This will kill it. And next we have the watering. For the watering, these plants need to be kind of moist all the time, but never waterlogged. What I mean by this is that we need a soil with good drainage, because else
we are going to have root rot.
If you are unsure on how to water your chrysanthemum, well, here are some tips. You should check with a meter or your finger or a wooden stick if the top inch of the soil is kind of dry, and then we are going to water a lot till we have the water running through the holes, and then we can be kind of sure that we thoroughly watered the pot. A word of caution is that I would not suggest watering the flowers also. Many people do this. It looks great, it looks stunning when we do it, but we might cause some mold or, well, we are going to harm the flowers and it will not look that great. So when you water the plant, water the soil, not the flowers. And the soil mix, of course, comes hand in hand with the watering. In order to achieve that kind of moist all the time but not waterlogged and prevent root rot, we need something that has drainage. That means that the soil allows the water to flow through it. It will not retain it and keep it inside the pot for a long period of time. It will not create a pond in the pot. You get me? Well, we need to have something to create drainage. If you make your own mix, you could add perlite or sand, gravel, or something that will actually create some air pockets in the soil mix. Or else, well, just get a good gardener and it will help. And if you are a plant geek, well, they prefer a pH of 6.2 to 6.5 to 7.0, which means mildly acidic to neutral. Well, you could go a little more mildly alkaline, but I guess that they do better in mildly acidic. That's my opinion. If you find yourself debating pot or ground, well, they can survive pretty well in both places. In pots they will look more round and polished, but in the ground they can spread and create a wonderful magical garden that you will enjoy for many years if you protect them during the snow and the winter and everything. And if you want to propagate them, you just simply need to find a branch, a stem, and cut 12 to 15 centimeters, and I say that much because we are going to put them into little small pots, and we need a huge part of it like this here to be inside the ground, inside the soil, so it will actually create roots. And for demonstration purposes, not that I would actually propagate them right now, let me show you. Oopsie. We are taking something like this and we are removing the lower leaves. Don't plant them with the leaves inside, it will rot and it will create a mess, a dead mess that will not result in plants. So you would take something like this and pot it inside a small pot. When it gets root bound, then you kind of pot it in larger and larger pots till you get something like this. And you could have many baby chrysanthemums for many years to come. Now, if you are wondering about humidity, these plants, they don't like high humidity, they don't like low humidity, they like moderate humidity. Don't confuse them with ferns, they are not similar, you can see that. They are unique, they have their style, so don't miss them, it will harm. Don't water them in the flowers, it will do harm. Just keep them somewhere that has a nice soft airflow. Not warm, not cold, something moderate. We are talking about moderation here. All of these tips this far are great to get you started, but it will not create wonderful results if you don't get this one right. And I am talking about fertilizing. Well, we need a strong fertilizer, but just follow the instructions. Don't use more than it is instructed on this certain fertilizer that you use. I will not recommend a specific brand at this moment. I would just say that keep in mind that they are flowering plants, so you could use a general fertilizer like 20-20-20, 10-10-10, or you could use something with more potassium and phosphorus because they are creating flowers and they might need it. But that being said, don't forget to fertilize them, but don't over-fertilize them. In the growing months, they need it. When they kind of hibernate during the winter, well, I don't fertilize them. I start at spring and they do fine. And since we were talking about blooms, well, let me show you something. This one here has some alive blooms and some dead blooms, and it still looks kind of edgy and elegant and beautiful, but if that bothers you, keep that in mind. It doesn't bother the plant to have these kind of dead flowers. It rejects them by itself. But if that bothers you, you can just pinch the old flowers and this will create a more kind of clean view for you, because you will have to look at the plant and you might want it to look more polished, more neat, and plus you will be able to see all the new blooms that are trying to come here from the inside of the bowl. So we just pinch it. Here, pinch. Here, pinch. I will have a lot of cleaning to do later. So you get the vibe here. It already looks way more clean. And some colors might look more hideous or more beautiful than others, depending on the hue that they carry. For example, this one turns brown, but it still fits the vibe, the yellow vibe. And let's move on to the next one, which is the enemy of all, the pests. Well, there are a lot of creatures that are going to get on your nerves because these here are alive and they could get ill just like us. So you have to keep in mind and search the leaves and the flowers from time to time to see if there is something walking around or maybe nibbling the plant itself. You will see some signs, maybe some leaves will turn yellow, they will have spots or something. Then you have to spray and just don't show mercy on them. I tried to do it one time, but it didn't end up really well for my plant and me because, well, the whole space got full of the pests. So you see a pest, kill it. If you want to help your chrysanthemums survive during the winter, well, you have to keep an eye on them because if it snows, it will burn them, so you have to protect them. You can do it by getting them, locating them in a sheltered place, somewhere that the snow can't actually go. Or if you have planted them directly into the ground, well, you could use some straw or mulch or something that would cover them and keep some distance so when the snow falls, it will not be able to touch them because of that layer of protection. If you have them indoors and they survive, well, kudos to you, they will not have a problem with the snow. They will be able actually to see it falling and enjoy the view.